nice and warm, you're all covered up.
Yes. Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like when I'm on the door in the winter. I suffer in the summer though.
I would.
Yes.
It's worth it though for fighting fires.
Pardon?
It's worth it for fighting fires.
Yes. That old black magic.
You met Danny Beard?
Yeah, I met him, yeah.
He's alright.
Yeah, it's nice, nice. Very good singer.
He is.
Oh.
Hello world. How are you? Well, my name's Forsyth Griffiths, as some of you will know. This is the beautiful Lauren Howard.
Harries, thank you.
Harris, sorry, I apologise.
Oh,
And this is the not so beautiful Christopher Darling.
Oh, shut your face.
Chrissy Darling.
Lovely.
I've got the pleasure of having these two icons in my company tonight, and I'm coming off the back of two amazing gigs that Lauren's just done in London, and is also on the front page of QX magazine at the moment.
I hate her.
Wasn't it Buffalo Zone?
And Buffalo Zone.
Buffalo Zone.
But for those of those people out there that don't know, or might not know, or might have been born before,
yeah.
Lauren, in 1984, you appeared on Wogan.
I did.
In front of virtually the entire nation.
Millions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you were a child prodigy, weren't you?
I was.
And you specialised in, was it porcelain?
Porcelain, yeah.
And wasn't it a case where, at the time, because you became like prominent nationwide at that point, didn't you? Because the public saw you just being this child genius with a dicky bow, didn't you?
Blonde,
yeah, gorgeous, yeah. And you were, what was your name at the time?
James.
James
yeah.
at the time.
James Harry, yeah.
James Harris at the time.
Yeah.
And people might remember Lauren because at the time Lauren, just to give you a bit of background before we go into it, was chosen because you at the time he was a child prodigy who had this encyclopedic knowledge of like porcelain and so it was invited onto the Wogan show, which at the time was the highest rating television programme on British television, am I right?
It was, yeah.
But what Lauren didn't know at the time, as James, was he was brought on to show his encyclopedic knowledge of porcelain. But what they did, which Lauren will
I told you.
tell me, yeah, they tried to trick you, didn't they? Because they labelled all the porcelain, and they tried to catch at the time James, who was a young, was it 10 years old?
Yeah, 10 years old.
10 years old at the time, out. Take it from there.
Well, there's thousands of China, so you can't know everything. So they had labels at the bottom of everything, and you weren't allowed to see them really before. So really, Terry Wogan wanted to say, "Oh, never mind."
So the idea was to catch you out.
It was. It always trying to catch me out all the time. And I looked at that, and I knew a certain amount, and I said it, and it worked. But it was just, I just got away with it.
Well, you got away with it, but did you really get away with it? Because if I remember rightly, because I remember a kid at the time, but I remember seeing it, and you were fucking outrageously sharp, and they couldn't catch you out, could they?
No, no.
Which is why I remember you. And I remember seeing this like lovely looking little lad at the time. And then you went on, obviously, then to get nationwide fame. Tell us about that. What happened? I hear Max Clifford was your agent or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, Max Clifford was my agent because we did this morning. This is later on now.
With Richard and Judy?
Richard and Judy, yeah. Right. This was before surgery and after surgery. I went on this morning with Max. But Max Clifford.
So tell us about before.
Yeah,
tell us about before.
Before as James, or
well, as James, yeah. So you wrote some
I went
massive
on
thing.
Oprah basically after Terry Wogan.
Like you do.
As you do.
What about that?
Yeah.
So you went on Oprah, go on.
And she had a ladder in her tights.
She had a ladder in her tights?
Yes.
Was she nice to you?
Yes, she was. It was all about money though. Everyone wanted me to auction their stuff, and she said, "How much is that worth?" And
can I ask you? You know, when you went on Oprah, was the idea to show you in a positive light, as in a really bright child, or was the idea to show you and try and sort of view you? Well, to portray you in a slightly precocious way, maybe, or whatever.
Well, no, the show was put together terribly. I mean, there was a boy who said he could keep his fish alive when he went on holiday by ringing the phone. Obviously, the fish would have died if he kept ringing the phone.
Right.
So I just the hash up of the show. So Oprah rang us afterwards and said, "Do you mind would you come with me and Stedman on the boat? I really apologised, but
Stedman was a partner at the
time.
Still is.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was, we were very sorry about being so unprofessional. But it was so.
She apologised to you.
She did. She rang us, and I remember we just couldn't do it. But you know, she rang us herself, and it was nice.
Well,
but
nice
the show was. She wasn't. No, she didn't try and. No, it was. She just.
So were you portraying the positive light?
I was.
And this is right. So this is coast to coast American television.
Yes.
So you're a star not only in England at the time. In the same year, then you become a star in America at the same time.
Well, I was going to be on the front of Life magazine,
Right.
but then a very big Michael Landon died, so he went on the front instead of me.
Right. Okay.
But there you go.
And this was still as James.
Yes.
Okay.
Terry O'Neill, Faye Dunaway's husband, took the pictures, so it was quite big.
So 1984, 10 years of age, you have been spotted by a talent scout. You appear on Wogan. The whole nation falls in love with you as this like child prodigy genius who just knows all about porcelain.
I had like a magic. It was just an instinct.
I remember it. It was
Yeah.
amazing. You were amazing, and that's why it sticks in my mind as it will with anyone else that saw it.
Antiques.
Antiques, exactly.
Yeah.
So then you rise to fame. Max Clifford becomes your agent, and so tell us about that a little bit. What was that like? In the streets, were you recognised by people?
Well, after after Terry Wogan, we went to Portobello Road because we were photographed for life there. And they all clapped. Everybody stood up and clapped, which was really
Did they?
lovely. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone loved you. That's what I mean.
They did.
Yeah.
And then and then I went on all the shows. Joan Rivers, she carried on to.
What was Joan Rivers like? Tell us.
She was lovely.
Really?
Really lovely.
Because I only asked this because my late partner, he said that he worked on the Joan Rivers show, and he said that when she was on camera, she was like sharp as a fucking
Very
razor blade.
sharp,
Absolutely.
very sharp.
He said the minute the camera was switched off, she became like this very frail old Jewish lady and she was very sort of, she knew what she wanted, she'd shout at people.
I met her.
There you are, Chrissy.
I met her in New York.
There you go.
And what did she say?
She was fabulous.
Yeah.
Were you in drag or out of drag?
I was out of drag, and we had to see her with Colin Rothbart, who's this place, and we bluffed our way backstage. She met us, and she was wonderful. You
Really
wouldn't
nice
mess with her.
George loved her.
No.
She was
My late
wonderful.
partner, he loved her.
Loved her.
So just so this whole fame thing explodes. You're recognised in the street now as so you're a personality, you're a celebrity. If you like.
Yes. Yeah.
You're 10 years of age.
Went on for 16 years now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Gone
Well,
on
we'll
TV
get into that
after-
slightly.
It's up to TV after TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, you've gone onto more than that.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Which is why we're doing this, because out of respect. But I want to get to that.
Of
So
course.
at this point, you get an agent who happens to be Max Clifford.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. What did he do? Did he get you into the newspapers? What was it? What was his...
Well, this is when the transitioning period was going on.
So all right. So now.
So we'll step back and say that basically after going on Terry Wogan, there was lots of shows all over the world, Sweden, Dublin, everywhere. And then I got to, just all the time, and it was better than school because I was getting bullied in school. Big bombshell, curly hair, blonde, and bow tie. You are going to get bullied.
Yeah, especially when you're this intelligent as well.
Well, yeah, and then later on, when I was about 16, it all sort of stopped. And
at what age, if I'm asking, I mean to interrupt you.
Yeah.
So at what age was it that you? Because obviously at this point you're dealing with sexuality at the same time.
Yeah, well,
you're famous. You're dealing with sexuality.
Yeah.
At what point was it that James became Lauren?
Well, what really was what's ironic is that it's a bit much, but a lot of when the boys are growing up, they have erections or whatever.
I've never had one in my entire life. Have you?
Well, I've had a few guys with erections.
No, but I never did ever. I never did. So I just bringing that into conversation because I never did. So that was very unusual. And then Max Clifford became my agent because I needed to raise the money for my surgery.
So did you approach him or did he approach you?
We approached him.
Right,
We
okay.
didn't know about him then.
Yeah, of course, no one did.
No.
So before we go on to that, can I just ask you? Do you mind if I ask you like a couple of
You
personal
can
questions?
ask me what you want.
As James,
Yeah.
did you always feel that you were a boy, or did you always feel that you actually you couldn't probably comprehend it yourself, but did you not? Did you always feel that you were more inclined to being a female, and you were just like trying to come to terms with why am I in this body kind of thing?
No, it happened very late in my life, about the age of 18. I mean, I was surrounded by Australian gorgeous looking men, and nothing. Sex didn't even go into my head until I was about 18.
Right. Okay.
So and then that's when I realised I was in the wrong body.
And so at this point, you realise you're in the wrong body. That's I can't comprehend that kind of.
No.
I mean, coming out was bad enough for me.
Yeah.
But find out you're in the wrong body. What did? Because at that point in time, what year was this?
This was 22 years ago.
So obviously, the idea of transitioning was not like something that is as
no
as virtual.
No, there were people Ashley and people like that, but they weren't. That was in the 60s. So no, there wasn't. All there was the Yellow Pages, and the only reason I went public was to raise the money for the surgery. So
but you did go public, and,
yeah.
and history now is the greatest when you've got
yes.
hindsight. And because you went public, I personally got lots of trans friends that would probably be sat here now wanting to just like give you a massive kiss.
No.
Yeah, because it's the people that forge the path.
Yes.
That allows them to help.
Yes.
And you're one of them people, and I have nothing but respect for you for that.
That's why I'm here on this earth, to help the transgender community.
And I believe that with
you. That's
I believe that with you, and I tell you why. Because it's absolute, and I know you, and there's nothing to do with financial gain, notoriety.
No.
It's time is showing respect, and we have nothing but respect. So I can speak for myself.
Of course.
That Chrissy Darling worships the ground that you
Oh,
are.
I love Chrissy.
I remember Laura when I was a child.
Yeah, but I was only a small child. But I remember you as James.
Yeah.
But then after coming out myself and hearing you, but I want to hear more of your story. So you realise that you're in the wrong body at this point. But you then make this brave decision that you're going to transition, and you're going to do it publicly too, because that's the only way that you can finance the actual procedures that you're going to have.
We contacted Max Clifford.
Right.
And then I had to look into the surgery. I showed my father and everything. We had to raise £20,000.
Is that how much it cost? £20,000.
Yeah.
What year was this?
This was about God knows, it was about 1999.
Right. And did you have any experience with anyone else that transitioned at that point?
Nothing.
So you do this completely on the blank. Yeah?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. So tell me your question again.
So you are now at the point where you have realised you want to transition.
Yes.
You which you've got no reference point because there's no one that you're referring to, but you just know that you just need to be a woman.
Well, it took me over like almost a woman took me over. That's how it felt.
Right. Yeah. And you've got no one to reference to.
No.
But you've gone through your own sort of research. You found out it's going to cost you £20,000.
Yes, that's right.
I'll with you in a second, Grizzly.
And it was just so.
Don't worry about me.
We didn't have any money, we found up until the day of surgery, we put the money in the bank and cashed it. But with that mum and dad had to find the money from nowhere. And we got no money from Max Clifford really. And what they say about Max Clifford is true.
I believe you. He's a complete old bastard, fucking scumbag, shit face.
No, because when I was there, I was in his office getting changed because they said I could buy myself another outfit, and I was only 6.5 stone. So I could wear anything, So I bought this lovely sock suit, and Max Clifford got really angry, and he was banging on the door, and he came in, and I think other girls have probably agreed to this in the past with them. But he came on to me. Basically.
Oh.
Did he? Oh, so this is new. This is new. So tell us more.
Hashtag something.
Hashtag exclusive.
Oh.
He said you have to mention Richard and Judy.
Oh.
And then he said,
no,
and then he took his trousers down.
Oh.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a dick. He's scumbag old bastard.
You can't have sex as when you're when you've had.
How old are you now?
I'm 30. Well, I'm not going to tell you.
No, not now, babe. I'm on about then. Yeah.
I was about 24.
24. What did you say? Did you kick me in the bollocks?
I just knew it wasn't. I just screamed. I screamed, and I was here about 100 members of staff, and he was basically saying, if you want me to be your agent, you've got to have sex with me.
Do you you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like...
And it was just... And also, he was mad as hell that I was in his office. So it was... And it was a reward. It would have been his reward for me being in his office. So there he is with his erection. And I said... I just went... I can't, because it's not good for me, you know? It's not good for me right now. I'm just gonna have surgery. I can't do this.
But you wouldn't anyway, would you? You got better taste than that.
No.
You got better taste than that.
Yes,
so
but at least it wasn't transphobic. There you go.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
You know why, babe? Because you had a pulse. That's why it is.
Right.
Yeah, you had a pulse. You had a pulse, and you're a dirty old fucking scumbag bastard who's locked up.
Well, he's locked up. Good.
So you have. You've now transitioned,
Yes.
and you're pioneering this now.
Yes.
You're going through all this horrific kind of pain, and you're also a public figure to a degree. So,
But what really happened though after Max Clifford was, it's a sad story, but it's the past. But we have to sometimes delve into the past.
Delve in, babe. Go on.
Okay. I had the surgery. It went really well, and then I was great then. So I had to have it done again. So, you know, because you can't have any sex after surgery. You have to wait a good 3 months. But this happened. It was just when I was doing a show in Putney, and it wasn't my fault. It happened a long time ago. But I blame myself, and women do. Women do, though.
Shouldn't.
They do.
Don't say that. Never say that.
How can it be your fault? If you're sat here now saying I was raped, then therefore that means, without question, there was something that you didn't agree to at that time.
Oh yes.
So
definitely.
therefore, on that basis alone, it was rape. So
Yes.
so
No,
no question about that.
No.
So let's not go into that.
No, but then I had to have new surgery. That was more money. So we were still with Max Clifford, and then I went on this morning before surgery, and then after when I had the surgery.
Could I ask you, with regard to, you went on this morning before and after?
Yes.
Did they know when you went on before that you were going to be having the surgery? Is that why you went
Yes,
on?
they did. But Judy said, "Is this set up?"
Did they treat you? So they treated you well? And I asked this because I wanted to see if they framed you in a way where you were some sort of freak kind of.
It was very, television didn't really know how to handle it.
Well, it wasn't.
No, and Judy said, "Is this just? Are you on TV just as a wind up here?" And I said, "No, of course I'm not. What a question to ask me."
But they had you on there.
They did.
So why are they asking you? Oh.
I know, and then
Judy.
Yeah, I know.
Judy,
you know.
stay off the gin and tonics.
Yeah.
Stay out of Morrison's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort your husband out shoplifting. Yeah. Judy.
And then they just
The shakes and all that.
And they just know it's Marlene Dietrich, and I look terrible, really, really terrible. Anyway, so I went on as Marlene Dietrich. I remember going in Harries, and then they said, and it was just.
This is before.
Yeah, this was after surgery.
Oh, so after
I went
surgery
on
now.
this morning.
How long after the surgery was it?
It was about a week.
Oh
later.
my goodness!
A week after surgery.
Wow.
Flipping heck. So were you still in pain at the time?
Yeah.
Right, so you go back on after surgery now, and how is that framed? Is that the narrative that you're... are they treating you in a sympathetic manner, or are they treating you
They
like...
were fine. They were nice. They were nice to me. Richard said, because I used to wear white linen Estee Lauder, and he was quite a flirt.
My mum likes that.
Yeah. And
Don't
he
you,
said, I like your perfume. And things like that at that time in your transition is very important to you.
Of course, I understand that. So with that, so you were and are now being seen to be, rightly so, with respect, as for the entire gay community, as a pioneer, basically, in this country especially, for trans rights and trans...
just being
trans and with no... not like in a Caitlyn Jenner-esque type way where it's all about publicity. You did it in a way where you just needed to do it, and time is now showing that you are in this country one of the, if not the, leading pioneers of trans rights.
No.
And I'm not saying that to blow smoke.
No, I know.
Because I don't do that.
No, I know.
It's just like that. It touches me because I can appreciate to one degree how, in the darkness where there's nothing to refer to,
Well,
it takes a brave person to do
it was what you call, it's pre-op, and then it's when you've had the operation, then you're fully trans. A lot of people say trans now, and then they just dress as a woman. And you know, when you go through surgery and you go through 2 years of therapy as well, and you see people say they're trans, and you know what I mean. They need to say I'm PR, but it doesn't really matter anymore.
No. But so just for people out there, I would like, if I could, I don't want to talk too much.
No,
but I came out as a gay man, and I met a friend, and they were going through. They're about to go into, they were pre-op trans. At this point, as I'd just come out, I didn't understand anything about trans, and I would have viewed it as just like some sort of freakish kind of mental. Until I met this friend of mine, and this friend of mine was transitioning from female to male.
Right.
And I sat down in a room, and I told Chrissy about this, haven't I?
So it wasn't me.
It wasn't me, no. But I told Chrissy about it. I sat down with this person, and we started to talk. We were watching a football match, and I was very nervous. And the person I sat down to was a male. And it was only at this point that I understood completely that when I looked around, there was a female sat there, but the person I was speaking to was a male.
It's all up there, you see.
And then I knew male sexuality because that's all I've ever been surrounded with.
Yes.
You can't fake it.
No.
It's just what it is.
It is.
Absolutely. So if a female was sat here, they would not feel anything remotely unfeminine about you.
No.
And on that basis, you deserve huge respect.
No.
From the community, because at the time when you were doing what you were doing, it wasn't in the public eye, it wasn't in the public sphere.
No.
And you were doing it without any reference point.
Just for me.
Exactly. And so listen, that's this is Lauren Harries. Modern times, your role in modern times has grown because history has thankfully viewed you in the perfect light, as it should be, because you are now being viewed more and more and more as time passes on, and trans rights become more sort of accepted. As a pioneer of this, explain what that path was like. Was it a tough road to walk, or have you just tread it easily?
It was a tough road. I mean, you get people screaming at the house, obscenities. I'd have to go upstairs to the highest part of the house, not to hear it. And you'd have people calling your shirt after. It went on for about 4 years.
And this was where?
This was after I'd been on the school.
But when you was living in what area?
In Cardiff.
In Cardiff.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It went on for years. And in the end, I did become very reclusive.
Yes.
You know.
And what was it like for yourself? What was it like at this point, just going to the shops as Lauren?
So you had to live as a woman for 2 years before you. It was you know, you had to, you know, you obviously had to make it, you know, decide what you wanted to wear, what you wanted to look like, and the first thing I started to do was put mascara on, and I haven't stopped since. But just for someone such as myself, yes.
Let's say you were going to Iceland to get some shopping.
Yes.
On a standard day, you leave your house and you're going to go to Iceland to get some shopping or wherever you shop.
Yes.
Would you subconsciously accept the fact that on that journey you are now going to accept some form of abuse, or would it be all right? Would you get no abuse? What would that journey be like?
Well, before I went public with it, it was fine. Somebody said, "Oh, you look like somebody I know," and it was, you know, I don't know who that is. But when I went public, it was difficult. Everybody knew, and it was hard, and there was a lot of transphobia then.
That's what I mean. So explain a specific situation for me, if you can. Are you going from, say, your home to, say, I don't know, a daily sort of engagement, and you have to walk through the street? What would it be like?
It would be, you'd have people or men in cars calling you tranny, which is.
Was this a daily occurrence?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you'd have people say shoplifter, and they just go. The car would go so quickly. And
how often would these kind of things occur? Would it be
every day.
So this is every single day.
Every single day.
And was there any point where that tailored off, or was this just what you just went to?
It only tailored off when I did Big Brother. Before then,
because you went on to do Big Brother. That's right. You did. Was it Celebrity Big Brother, wasn't it?
Yes.
And tell us about that.
Bit on the side before that with Pete Burns and everything. It was started to change when I started to do TV, and people saw me as my personality. But it only really started to people to accept me as who I was when I was in the Big Brother house. That's why I wanted to go on it, so people saw me as the woman that I am.
And what was your experience like in the Big Brother house? What was it?
It was I take every situation as it comes, and it was for me. It was a lovely experience. I could see Mario Falcone every day, so it was lovely. And they were a little bit. You got Karma Griffin saying things like, "Well, would you go out with, maybe you should go be with a transgendered man because you're." It was sort of. I said, Carol, I'm a woman. That means I can go out with any man. Did you realise that?
Who was that guy you had who you knew from Big Brother's bit on the side?
Russell Brand.
Russell Brand. Did you have an affair with Russell Brand?
I did. Yes.
Another exclusive, folks. It's good job you're tuning in.
Yes,
so tell us.
Yeah.
So Russell Brand.
So did I. No, I wish.
So you had an affair with Russell Brand.
Yeah, well, he wasn't known then. This is when it bit on Big Brother's Big Mouth.
Was he doing smack at this point?
Probably.
No, I'm asking that because I'm saying because I want an insight for two reasons. I want two exclusives. I want an exclusive into your relationship with Russell Brand. I also want an exclusive into the fact that you were with him when he was doing smack, because all the people who were with him when he was doing smack, I've always been like, oh, it was so nice. Tell us the fucking dish, babe. Come on.
Well, he wasn't nice.
There you go. That's why I asked the question.
He wasn't nice, and he never gave me a word in edgeways when we worked together. He wouldn't let me say anything, so I threw a shoe at him on set, on live television.
A good one.
It was like it was a high heel,
Right
over him, and he came over and put the shoe on my leg, and that's when it started between us.
Oh. So how many times did you shag?
It went on for a few months.
Can I just ask one question?
Yeah.
How big was it?
Was he well endowed?
As I've told many...
He's actually...
It doesn't matter how big it is.
No, but we just
Lauren,
want to know.
cut the bullshit.
Just between us, how big?
There's no one else watching.
On the scale of 1 to 10.
It was 10.
Oh!
Yeah.
Lauren!
You did ask me.
Lauren, I didn't ask you, you asked.
Russell!
Yeah, it depends how excited you got.
So, you've got the Big Brother house. What year was this?
God, it was 2012.
2012. So now we've fast forwarded a long time now.
Yeah.
So you've got that Big Brother house. You've got this new sort of lease of life in terms of a public.
It changed everything.
Were people more accepting of you in 2012?
Yes, they did. They saw me for 3 weeks. And they saw me in the mornings at 6 a.m. with no makeup on. They saw me crying. They saw me have arguments, but always keeping the positivity that I keep always. And they saw the person that I am. And then I came out, and then there wasn't any more. I didn't have people shouting.
So your daily trip that we described earlier.
That changed.
So there was no
They
more.
just wanted a picture then.
And here's the thing, folks. Here's the thing, right? It's people like Lauren, and it's people like Tom Robinson, and it's people, there's people out there that put the balls, put their lives on the line, everything, and they break. I have nothing but respect for these people because they make it easier for people coming along. Lauren, so tell me, this weekend has been a mad party here in the shed.
Oh my God.
Has it not? Chrissy down instead of mine.
How was it yours?
Exactly. So, but Lauren this weekend had a mad busy weekend. Tell us about your weekend. Before you do, front page of QX magazine. Looking beautiful, babe. Looking beautiful. You do look beautiful, though.
No.
And a full interview in QX magazine.
Where was that picture taken?
In here.
On this floor.
On this floor.
No, it's on
And the
the
bed upstairs.
on Colin's bed and
Colin's
on this
bed,
floor.
On this floor.
Colin Rothbart's bed.
Colin Rothbard. And a front cover.
Happy birthday, Colin Rothbard.
Oh, it's his birthday!
Colin,
Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday!
So, mad party this weekend, but you came down for the party, didn't you? But you also you performed at the Glory. Tell us about that.
I did. I'm a woman. Oh, a big stand.
You're not.
No, you know what? That's the only transgendered song around.
What?
I wrote. I'm a woman.
Right. So you performed one of your songs.
One of my songs. It's. I was born a boy, but now I'm a girl.
Can people?
People can get that on
where from?
iTunes.
So you got iTunes
and you can just download it.
So
Go on YouTube.
So explain where they need to go.
Go on YouTube and look at Lauren Harries' videos, and you'll see the songs, and you'll see, and you can also download them on iTunes. And it was the only transgender song still.
So on iTunes, Lauren Harris.
Yes.
What are people going to search for?
It's called I'm a Woman, and then there's the one called All Dressed Up.
I'm a Woman and All Dressed Up.
And Appadoo.
Lauren Harris and Appadoo.
Which is all about sex.
Lauren Harris on YouTube, is this?
YouTube, and it's on iTunes.
And on iTunes. And what are the 3 songs called?
All Dressed Up.
All Dressed Up. Lauren Harris, All Dressed Up.
Appadoo.
And Appadoo.
Which is about sex.
You did the gig at the Glory quickly before.
Yeah, and then it's Buffalo's own magazine.
And oh yes, on front page of Buffalo magazine as well, folks. Please look at that up. But also, you then last night, so this is what I heard. He told me out on the phone. He said, I phoned him this morning. I said, how did Lauren get on last night? And he said, because Chrissy, yeah. Because you had a gig at the Admiral Duncan in Soho in London with Bag of Chips.
Bagger.
Hi Bagger.
So after after performing at the Glory, you came back here, didn't you? Yes. And let's not bullshit anyone here.
Tell me, yeah.
You partied, didn't you, babe?
Yeah, I did.
All night long.
Yes.
All night long. Yeah. And then then the next day, you got ready, you went in the shower, got ready, and then you had a gig at the Admiral Duncan in Soho in London the night after, yeah? So he tells me, he phones me and he says, I said, how did Lauren's gig go? And he went, well, basically, she went down to Soho, yeah?
But before that,
go on, you tell
she
the story.
fell over. Right, we left the house.
You can see the bruises.
She fell over on the street, like.
I did.
Got up, got into the taxi, got there eventually, got to the stage.
But I got right up.
Bagger was saying, oh, we're finished now, goodbye, blah, blah. And as we did, she saw me, she went, oh, they're here. Lauren put her bag by the side of the stage, got the microphone, and did the number straight away.
And I did the burlesque.
Yeah, apparently.
She was twerking.
He says to me,
I always do a burlesque with Appadoo, you see, if I get the right meaning for it.
She was grade A, not just shaking her ass, twerking.
I didn't even know what twerking meant.
He says to me, he phones me, and I phoned him, and I said, how did it go last night with Lauren? And he said, he said, it's like this. We got there, he said, and she just walked up the stage. He said, he walked through. Admiral Duncan's fucking packed, right? It's not a fucking can't move, right? Because she's playing. And you can't move. So they fight their way through to the front, yeah? You get to the fucking front, she just goes like that, takes the coat off, hands it to the person on stage like that, and just drops it around.
On the floor.
Yeah, drops on the floor, right? And then just walks on the stage, and boom! Off you go. Twerking.
No, I stripped because I.
No, you was twerking. Lauren, you were twerking.
No, I had to try because
your dress just fell off.
As I've done not done Appadoo in London, really. I wanted it to be remembered, and I do burlesque anyway, like Dita Bonte's, and I wore this dress a bit like a trench coat, and I unbuttoned it and brought the corset and stockings on, and I sang Appadoo, but I knew I had to do it straight away, so I just did it.
And she nailed it, and. Today, the outpouring on all of the social media, Twitter feeds, blah, 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 is like, Lauren Harris, blah. And we got the exclusive, so that's why we're doing a live broadcast tonight. Yeah. Lauren, just before, because I want to move on to...
Talk to Chrissy.
So fucking,
let me... never finish?
I'll shut the fuck up in a minute. I met him in 2000, and God, what, let's write it down. 2005. 2005, I'd just come out, right?
I was only 3.
Goes to Queer on Canal Street in Manchester.
Nigel Martin Smith's place.
Yeah, I'm going to get into that.
No, but please, these people don't know.
We're going to get into that. And I was struck by this. Not
on the head.
Not this, because this is 2019. This.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Every single bit of this Chrissy makes from the ground up, man. Every bit of it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I met this, and fast forward 2019, he's my best friend, and I've been hospital out him.
You're both my friends too.
I hope so, mate.
Yeah.
I hope so. But so. Chrissy darling.
Yes.
The outside world might not know of you. I'm sure most of them do.
There's 3 people who don't. Yeah.
Tell me where you grew up.
I grew up in Bradford.
Right, because behind this mask.
Biley in Bradford. Biley, everybody from Biley, if they're watching this, they're going to be like hiding behind the settee now.
No.
I was born... No, they will be, because...
They're already in Manchester. You look.
So, anyway, so I was born in Bradford, brought up in Biley, then I moved to Birmingham. That's where I got most of my accent from.
Right, so just bear with me a second, because I want to just... You grew up in Bradford, right? And Bradford is a hard working class town.
Yes.
I come from one myself. Yes. I found it difficult coming out as a gay man.
But I was from Biley, which was in the south of Bradford, which is an estate in the countryside.
Exactly, so it's 10 times worse. Carrot crunchers, the lot. Yeah. They've only just discovered electricity. You're just drinking water.
Yeah, Ina Sharples has just joined Coronation Street up there. Did you know
that? To say, that you're black? Is that to say that?
Pardon?
Is that to say
because I'm biracial.
As a biracial young man...
Biracial.
Growing up...
I'm actually Capricorn, but I say biracial.
Growing up...
Yeah.
You grow up and you discover the fact that you fancy men. What year was that? What age was that?
Well, there was never a year.
What age was that?
No, there wasn't. I was just puberty.
Puberty. So you hit 13, 14, 15?
No, 10. 9, 10.
9 and 10. So you knew 9 and 10?
I was doing lots of other things at 13 and 14.
I'm sure you were. At 9 and 10 you knew that you were gay?
Of course.
Right, and in a working class town, obviously, I know it's myself, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Did you find it easy to come out?
Well, it wasn't a question of coming out. It was a question of how do I survive not getting murdered?
Yeah. Yes. I know that one.
And also...
That's called coming out in the north, brother.
But in the 80s...
Well, it was anyway.
In the 80s, when I was in my previous life, they... at one point, I couldn't get on the bus. But I was an ex-athlete. So I used to walk into town, run into town.
Why couldn't you get on the bus?
Because people, attack you.
Because of what your race or your sexuality?
No, what I look like.
But how did you look? That's what I mean.
Oh, I was just crazy. I was like...
So
well, the thing is, in the early 80s, Boy George was all the rage. Boy George...
So bear with me. So the age of coming out was around what? Well, at what point did you recognise your sexuality?
Oh, when I was like 10, 9 or 10.
And at what point did you tell your parents?
Didn't. Never.
Never, okay. But at what point, so did you start dressing sort of flamboyantly?
In the early 80s, it was all about Grace Jones, all about Bette Midler, all about Boy George. And the 80s scene was phenomenal. And it was all about so I used to have pink hair. I used to do my hair with elastic bands and wear makeup. And I knew
And at what age were you now?
I was a teenager.
So what, 13, 14?
No, but 15, 16.
15. So you're in Bradford, you're 15, you're dressing quite flamboyantly, but
yes.
in line with the times, New Romantics era, blah, blah, blah. So would...
but you have to remember, this was Bradford, this wasn't like London or...
Oh yeah, no, that's what I'm making. So this is this is a small working class town, if Bradford was at the time, if I'm not mistaken, it was like a mining community.
A very isolated part of Bradford, not the main part that you see on the...
So as a young...
Who was it?
It doesn't matter really.
What did you say about ladders?
Sorry about that, folks. Where were we? Here's where we were. As a young, mixed race teenager, growing up in working class hardcore Bradford, you're dressing flamboyantly, to say the least.
Right.
Inspired by the likes of Boy George. What was life like on a daily basis, say going from your house, as I asked Lauren, to say the shops?
You had to go to, it was the veil of darkness.
Well, in the daytime?
You didn't. You had to be very, very careful. Daytime, scrub all the makeup off, don't look as flamboyant as you would do, but you had to wait until the night time and conduct everything at night time. I'll give you an example. There was a woman on my estate, she got married. She did get married, she was pregnant and she wasn't married and she wouldn't go out during the daytime because people pointed the finger at her.
Right, so
so that was the mentality.
In the context of the time, so I'm only wanting to go into it because of the juxtaposition between what we see today and what you had to ultimately come to from where you were. So as a mixed race teenager living in working class Bradford during the Thatcher years, you transformed into what we see today, Chrissy. Tell us about what was the key moment? Did you move to Birmingham? Was it easier then?
Well, I remember watching the television. My father was very stern.
Because your father was Nigerian, wasn't he?
He was Nigerian.
Right, so that's
and my mother was English of Irish descent.
So you got Nigerian father, sorry,
Yeah.
that's really
But
sort
they
of...
divorced in it's a long story. Anyway, they divorced years before. So, so for me, one day I remember watching the television. I remember this very vulgar woman who was hysterical, and it was Bette Midler.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I saw pictures of her dressed as a hot dog. I went, that's what I want to do. I want to dress as a hot dog. Anyway, so then at the same time we had Grace Jones. Grace Jones was an androgynous woman who looked more like a man.
Right.
And I just...
Because you're a big fan of Grace Jones,
I adore Grace Jones. I adore Bette Midler, my favourite too. My mother and father always say
not
Grace
gay
Jones
stereotypes at all, but carry on.
well, no, at the time it didn't matter because there was no such thing. But anyway, so and I was a big Donna Summer fan as well. And then I heard, and this is all at the same time, and then all of a sudden Divine was just this sensation from Pink Flamingos, John Waters from the John Waters movies,
right?
Who I met eventually was.
So all these are gay iconic figures, but
well, they're gay iconic figures now, but at the time I didn't understand that concept. It was just the people I liked who then just so happened to be gay iconic figures. But that whole generation, my generation then, was inspired by all these people. So,
such as?
Well, like Culture Club, Depeche Mode, Tears for Fears, all those 80s bands and singers, everybody dressed up. It didn't matter whether you was gay or straight.
So the New Romantics era, right? I get
not
that,
just
yeah.
not just New Romantic, New Wave. New Romantic was more fancy. New Wave was.
So at what point do you move from Bradford to? You moved to Birmingham, didn't you?
I moved to Birmingham because
and that was quite a vibrant club scene, wasn't it? Because you met UB40, you went on tour with UB40.
I went on tour with the UB8040 tour.
You went on tour with UB40
with a band called Echo Bass, which was like Jimmy Lynn and all these other people and the Amu brothers and.
But you were quite close with UB40, weren't you?
Yes.
But at the time when they were when
Johnny Scott. Yes,
and we were at the best. The signing off time.
So when we was on tour, and the support band was called Echo Bass, and I was the one looking after the dressing room. So when UB40 used to go out on stage, I would look after the dressing room and arrange.
But didn't you also style them as well?
Well, I started the support band.
No, because that's not true. You know that's not true. I'll tell you why. I'll remind you. I've done my research here. And there was a point. Because I was early UB40. I was a huge fan of. The first album they did was called Signing Off. It was brilliant. And there was, but they were big cokeheads, weren't they? Massive cokeheads. Well, you can't speak on that, but I'll speak.
I don't know.
Allegedly.
Even though. They all wore sunglasses for a shoot.
Allegedly. They all did lots and lots and lots of copious amounts of cocaine. It was the 80s, for Christ's sake, folks. Everyone did cocaine, not that they do now, of course. But there was, I heard a rumour. You don't have to confirm it. Yeah. Allegedly, there was one particular morning where they were due for a photo shoot. UB40.
Oh yes.
And they were going to go and do this photo shoot, but they all were completely munted, and their jaws had gone home. They all had postcodes for their eyeballs because they were doing that.
Yes.
And it was someone not too far away, apparently, that suggested that they all wear shades on this particular photo shoot. Am I right?
Yeah.
Right, okay. And that photo shoot went on to become one of their most iconic photo shoots. Am I right?
Yes.
And also, if I'm not mistaken, one of the album covers had a silhouette of that particular moment, and just using the sunglasses that they wore as a silhouette. It's true. And how you came up with it all. So you're there with UB40. You're in Birmingham. You're having
living in Forsyth in a house with Jimmy. His name was Jimmy Lynn. He was quite well known in Birmingham. And Oscar, who was the drummer from what's the band called? Ocean Colour Scene. Oscar Harris.
That's right. Yeah.
Who was. Just
fantastic drummer,
yeah, great bloke. Anyway, so
it's the same period that you're on Wogan, by the way.
So we're living in this house, and I remember watching Wogan with everybody in the house.
Really?
And you was on Wogan.
Everyone watched it.
No.
Everybody watched this, and but this house was crazy. And Ali Campbell lived in the next street. I lived on Runcorn Road. He lived on Brighton Road, which was the next road in so I've turned Birmingham now.
Yeah, you have, but
but they were just phenomenal days, and they.
So you were with UB40. You're in the middle of Brighton, Birmingham, should I say? So vibrant club scenes happening in the middle of this. What began the whole? How did you start to Did you start dressing up in...
No, before. It was before, when I was in Bradford.
Where did the image begin?
Oh, it just started in the early 80s.
Yeah, but how? This is the interesting bit.
Well, it was just like you saw everybody around you. When I say everybody, Smash Hits, Top of the Pops, blah blah blah. Everybody was dressed up.
Yeah, but there's dressing up, Chris.
Yes, I know. But what I'm saying is, from my point of view, I remember seeing a picture of Boy George, or pictures of Boy George before we knew he was Boy George. I think it was in Lieutenant Pigeon. He was in Bow Wow Wow for a short while.
Right.
And I remember seeing it, and I thought, wow, that's fantastic. And then I saw pictures of Grace Jones, and she was like doing her thing, and I thought, oh. Anyway, so then I started doing this crazy hairstyle with like elastic bands and extensions and makeup and sticking things on my face and just.
Is this in Birmingham?
Well, Bradford going into and then Birmingham.
So let's move to Birmingham.
Yeah.
You're in Birmingham now.
Yeah.
You meet up with a friend of yours called who became known as Twiggy.
Well, Twiggy was like a leading light in Birmingham. He was more well known than me at the beginning. I'll say that because he's not as old as he's a couple of years younger.
You need Twiggy, go on.
But Twiggy was and is phenomenal. There was a friend of mine called Ray. It was Rachel now. It was Ray at the time. It was very well. It was just amazing.
Did you get on the club? You got on the scene, don't you?
Well, I got on the scene. People were all doing it, and I was like, no, I've got to do this. And so the game every week was to try and outdo.
I'll do the other right. So this is an interesting bit. So you start to outdo each other, and you're on this scene with Twiggy.
Yes.
You're doing shitloads of drugs.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. But at that point, because I know that you stopped doing drugs, was it 2000?
1999.
1999.
2 minutes to 12, 1990. December 31st, 1999.
Does not take a single drug. It blew my mind,
Yeah.
but that's the truth.
Well, apart from vodka.
But at this point, so you're doing lots of drugs, you and Twiggy are out there, you're killing it.
Yeah.
But then I want to know how the Chrissy Darling that I met in 2005
Oh, right.
developed.
So there was a guy called Piers Sanderson. And he was working at a club called, what's it called, at the steering wheel? Fun at the steering wheel. And he said to me, well, actually, there's a friend, Alex Laird.
You're going into too much detail here. You meet these people, but I want to know when you started to make your clothes.
Right, so I was asked to do a guest list for
no.
my friend Alex Laird, and it's called Blue, and it was at the Baker's Club. And I was dressed as Superfly guy, do you know, with flowery shirts and afros and stuff.
Right.
The thing was, at the time, that's when everybody was doing it.
What year is this?
About 1992.
1992.
So anyway,
Superfly guy at this point.
yes. So then Piers Sanderson, who's now a documentary maker, he said to me, "Can you come and do work at the steering wheel at Fun?" So I went there, and I remember one of the doormen said, "If he ever turns up in drag, I'm leaving." What did I do? Turned up in drag the following week.
When you say drag, so let me just say, when you say you dress up, you turn up in drag.
Yeah.
Was it drag as we would?
No, it's more girl.
Historically, no.
Drag as in dressed as a girl drag.
So that's what I mean. So was it a drag where you were trying to look like a female?
Well, no, I was wearing leopard skin. I was wearing leopard
But you
outfit,
still had a male.
blonde hair. No, blonde hair, makeup, which was terrible, and some shoes that were like 3 sizes too small.
So it wasn't a man trying to dress like a woman, or was it a man trying to dress like a woman?
That's what drag is.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's why, because this is. I asked that because a lot of people wouldn't understand the.
But then,
term.
see, right? Do you
Let
know
me
what
finish.
drag?
A lot of people wouldn't understand the term drag when it's used in reference to what we see here. Do you understand what I mean? So the difference I want to establish is drag is traditionally established as an idea where it's a man trying to dress as a woman.
Sort of.
Well, traditionally.
Yeah.
This is where you stand out as an icon for me, because you see you don't dress as a woman, but you do all of the. But you've got your own specific iconic kind of look and style.
That doesn't matter though.
No, it doesn't matter, but we're not being politically correct here. I don't give a shit.
I'm not being politically correct. It doesn't matter. Drag is drag. Drag it is an umbrella term.
Would you class yourself as a drag artist?
If you want to.
No, I don't want to. I'm asking you.
I don't class myself as anything.
Exactly.
Because I've always had my own specific views on gender. Gender is non-existent for me. I'm just saying it's non-existent.
I agree with you.
So the drag bit for me is if you want to dress up, dress up.
So you have bought a sewing machine. You started to make your own clothes.
No. I was doing it by hand.
By hand, okay, right, okay. But you make your own costumes.
Yes, by hand. And I used to go to Global Groove's a record shop on the Saturday afternoon. We used to get absolutely wrecked in the shop. And I'd go home and I'd sew something before work, and I'd be so drunk I didn't put the needle in the settee, I put the needle in my leg. And
So you started to make your own costumes?
But they're really terribly sewn, but it didn't matter under the veil of darkness. So you're in a club and everybody's be drinking and doing all kinds of other things. It didn't matter. Anyway, so then eventually I got a sewing machine, but Twiggy was the seamstress. Twiggy was amazing, and still is an amazing seamstress, and taught me how to use the sewing machine.
What year is this?
1994, 95.
Okay, so fast forward to the 90s, you start to make your own costumes.
Yeah.
When did you start to get the headdress idea? The whole sort of...
But
it's a very specific, iconic thing.
It evolved.
It evolved.
So you just started off with wigs and stuff, and then you started make a little head thing, and then the head thing got bigger, and then you had this. And
So what year was it that you got like the extended head stretches?
Late 90s.
Late 90s, so now we're into the year 2000. Because I mean, I met you in 2005, and you were working at the time. You were working. You were fucking Jesus Christ, man! You were working outside Queer. You were working outside Essential.
Well, Essential came first, didn't it?
Oh, sorry. Well, yeah. I met you outside Queer. So
yeah, it's Queer bar.
So tell us about that. You met Nigel Martin Smith, who's manager of Take That.
Well, it's really funny because like, I was working for Nigel, and then when I got changed, I was stood on the door, and then I heard Nigel say, "Who's there over there?" And he didn't recognise. He didn't know it was me. But I must say, Nigel gave me some of the best years ever. Yeah,
well, I met you through like Nigel, obviously.
But the best years.
So, because when I met you at the time I met you, Jesus, man, you owned Manchester. Well, I mean, if it was still alive, you still would. But you owned Manchester. Jesus, I remember it wasn't walking down Canal Street. Well, I mean, it's like walking anywhere with him now. It's impossible. It's virtually impossible to walk through anywhere because. You then went on after working, because everyone knew who you were. Then you moved to London, didn't you? Because at the same time as me.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah, and that's where we became close friends. Because then you started to work all the London clubs. You were working Fire, you were working Beyond, you were working...
Where I was on Saturday.
You were working Beyond on Saturday, you were indeed. But then you end up in a scenario where you end up in Britain's Got Talent, don't you?
Yes, well, Nigel Martin Smith, who was the manager of Take That and the owner of Essential and Queer Bar, put a band together called Clubtown Freaks. Well, I was too old for the original lineup by about 3 months, and one day, out of the blue, he says, "Do you want to join the band?" And I was like, "But I'm too old." I went, "Yes." Anyway, blah blah blah. 2 weeks later, he was auditioning for. Britain's Got Talent.
I remember that time, you see, I remember.
Yes.
And I remember us, you then appear on, you appear on the show, and it's like 10 million viewers, and you've got Ant and Dec with, he was the one with the fucking big fod who ended up getting nicked for drink driving.
That's Ant.
Ant, I remember.
And they were really nice.
Yeah, I remember you saying,
but really nice.
Right, and where have you been introduced?
Yes, and but when we did the show, that's when Rowetta came along.
Yeah, Rowetta.
And Rowetta really supported us.
She's beautiful, that's why. We love you, Rowetta.
Yes, we do. I love you.
But I remember it was around the time of Manchester Pride, and I met you with Manchester Pride, right? And I went to the shop, and I have to be honest, I've been out, and I went to the shop and I got a newspaper. Because I was going for a can of nourishment and some cigs. I opened the newspaper, and on page from like fucking 4 or something, it's got a big picture of him, right? It's something about how you were fucking throwing people in skips or something.
No, it says he jokes about killing women and dumping them in skips.
Yeah, this big feature in the.
Do you know why I've got to say this because people
say.
Right, I used to do a thing at the end of the week for the Essential nightclub. What's it called? Not a podcast, an article on the internet.
Oh yeah, you did it every week, yeah.
So, and there were tips on being a serial killer, tips on being a drag queen, tips on being...
It's like a blog, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a blog, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah. One of the tips on being a successful drag queen on Canal Street was, if a hen party walk past you and one of them keeps pulling your wig off, you're going to have to kill her and dump her in a skip because she's going to keep...
That's what you said.
Yeah.
You were joking, obviously.
Joking. So then it ends up full page in the paper. He jokes about killing women and dumping them in skips.
I remember reading it, and so here's what they did. The Sun and the Mirror, didn't they? They tabloided it to death, right?
Yeah.
And they said something like, they showed a picture like of this.
Yeah.
just the bit here, and said, what was it? Was it what did they call you, tranny, or what would they call you?
Oh, it was. Do you know what?
Some
I
abusive.
actually didn't read that bit because it's like no, I really did
you.
not. Listen, can I just say one thing? If you ever end up in a paper or something like that, don't read. Don't read the comments.
Never read your comments. It's a celebrity rule.
Never, because they will rip you apart.
And you'll feel awful.
Yeah.
Well, I remember I was laughing at it, to be honest, because I read it and it said, it showed a picture of him and it said that he was wanting to, I don't know, it virtually said he wanted to chop up babies and fucking drop fucking corpses in skips or whatever, blah, 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 right? So I phoned Chrissy, I go, Chrissy, have you seen the fucking paper? So he goes, no, what? I read it to him, I said, Tranny wants to, and blah, blah, blah. That's what they said in the paper. And but then it all got a little bit dark, didn't it? And then fast forward, you did, but then it all came around because I remember then shortly after that you did Brighton Pride.
Yes.
Paul Kemp, you were doing main stage.
Oh my God, Paul Kemp just gave me the
absolutely,
it does give me the absolute
every year,
opportunities.
yeah, absolutely.
And I did the first one. I did
main stage. Chic, I think, was the first one that I saw you do. Chic was on main stage. He was introducing Chic.
No, that was Love Box.
Oh, was it Love Box?
But the no, we did what were they called? The girls, We Are Family.
Sister Sledge. That's right. Yeah.
But me and Johnny Woo did it to start with, and then he let me loose by myself, and then I've literally just.
No, you were fantastic because you explode. I mean, you explode everywhere. You're all over the. There's not a place in the gay scene that these two people don't appear in some way or other.
The sauna.
Other than the sun.
I've just started doing the prides.
Yes.
Wow.
You've done a lot.
Yes, 8 prides last time.
Yes.
Yeah, but hopefully you're going to be
doing more.
You're going to be doing
right,
more. You deserve to.
Yeah.
So with that, just before we end it,
but we could just say that before that.
Go on.
Paul Kemp turned around to me last year and went, "Do you know what we've got for the main thing?" And I went, "Oh, this is and he told me, Britney Spears, you know, but don't tell anybody. Can I just say, it's the biggest secret I've ever kept in my life, and I kept it, and I'm so proud of that moment."
Well done.
Well done.
Well done for that. Anyway, to end it. But Chrissy, are we going to get an exclusive here? Are you going to be doing Brighton this year, or is it help?
Well,
can you tell us who's going to be playing Brighton
this year? Well, you know, I might be doing it this year. You never know.
Yeah, but who's going to be playing Brighton this year?
Well, there's going to be Kylie Minogue on Saturday.
Can't wait.
And my father is doing it on Sunday. Grace Jones.
Oh no, that's pretty cool.
No, that's
that'll be fun for you, Jesus Christ.
But Kylie, though, we met Kylie at a pub in Shoreditch.
We did indeed.
She's nice, isn't she?
She's really sweet. She's darling.
She's
He was got so, you know, she robbed my name like Christian Dior. Darling. And
Records, Charlene!
Bloody hell, remember. So anyway, first week in August, Brighton Pride is going to be phenomenal.
It's going to be phenomenal. So just to top up, if I could ask you, what would you choose if you could choose one iconic moment in your adult life that you would cherish as a pivotal moment? What would it be?
In my past or my...
In your in your adult life. So I would say in the story that you explained to us, say post James, or maybe pre James. I don't know. Which one would you say is most iconic and why?
I think it was being in Big Brother, becoming a singer as well, and going on the stage and doing and seeing people and also having relationships and seeing men seeing me as a woman, and also being on the newspapers with men, and men actually thought, oh my God, you know, transgender women actually have boyfriends, straight boyfriends. It's something that you might think it's a bit uppity, you know. I mean, but it's you know, that is what I want for the rest of the world. I want that accepted.
And that's what you did, and absolute respect for you because you forged that. And a lot of credit for you too. Chrissy.
And Chrissy.
Yeah.
As another, I have to say, yes, you are my friend, but I have to say, I take a third party stance away from being a friend of yours. And in terms of the gay community, I have nothing but admiration and respect for you for being someone who...
It drives you mad.
Drives me mad. But as a third party, I take... You are a mixed race individual who came from a northern hard working class sinker state,
Yeah.
but you still were able to be yourself.
Yeah.
And you created this amazing creation from head to toe.
Yeah.
And you're a fucking beautiful person in between.
Inside.
What is your most iconic moment in your modern or post life that you would see as defining factor?
Oh gosh. Well, I used to be an athlete. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
And I won the Northern Championships, 100-meter hurdles, and I just thought,
Is that your moment?
that was my moment. But also being on stage at Brighton Pride just before Britney, and every time I mentioned her name, there was this scream.
I was there, I remember it.
Yes, that's
It was amazing, I was so
it was
proud of
like
you.
this absolute scream, and these people just listened to every word you said.
No, because you're because
amazing.
you're engaging. You're both engaged
Yes.
individuals. You both got really interesting stories to tell. Mine was getting married to my husband. God bless him.
Yes, God bless
So
him,
anyway,
George.
there you go.
Can you say before we go?
Yeah.
Hello, Lynn.
Yeah, if you're watching
And the
live.
flower that I used, Helen
Lynn.
Scott gift from America, because he sent me these big bouquet flowers, and he's a big fan of mine, so I just wanted to say
Yes.
hello.
And just to remind everyone again, whoever's watching, where can people listen to?
Just go on YouTube, iTunes, you'll see all my songs
Which is at?
on Google.
Yeah. So give an address.
Well, iTunes.
iTunes.
Lauren Harris.
Lauren
Yes.
Harris. Just
What?
type in Lauren Harris, you'll see
Lauren
everything I've done.
Harries, IES.
H-A-R-R-I-E-S, not the Harris, the Harry.
Harries.
Harris. Sorry, I apologise.
Oh, whatever people say, don't worry.
And also, Chrissy, I know for a fact that you have also got a song in the.
Oh, we've got a song. Yes, we have.
It's called "Flip Your Hair."
Like a White Girl.
Flip Your Hair like a white girl.
And it's about just,
It's
just
fucking
joyful
brilliant.
exuberance, and we're going to be exploring parts of it in future.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a weekly podcast,
Yes.
me and Chrissy, with guests. So with that in mind, thank you, Lauren. Thank you so
My
much for that.
pleasure.
Absolute respect.
No.
And love to you,
No.
Chrissy, darling.
Get off me!
Thanks for watching, folks.
Bye, Lynn.
Right,
I'll phone you tomorrow.
I'm